Hi, how are you? And welcome to my kitchen again. We're continuing with the immigrant ancestors. That is to say, those peoples who came to this country and brought with them a great culture and a great cuisine. Today's special guests are the peoples from Ethiopia. Now, there aren't many around yet, but Ethiopia in Africa is a very old nation. It goes back a couple of thousand years to King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. It's a wonderful place and a wonderful cuisine. If you look at the map, you can see how they're located in terms of the rest of the nation. And they used to go up the Red Sea. There, you see that? They used to go up the Red Sea to Israel because originally the Ethiopians were Jews. However, at their conversion, and I think this was by St. Philip, it's listed in Acts, Philip or St. Stephen. Anyhow, the Ethiopian eunuch was converted and went back to the royal household, and eventually most of the nation became Christian, and the tradition, the Orthodox Ethiopian church, goes back at least goes back 2,000 years. I can't say at least, that's exactly what it goes back to. It's a wonderful place, but the food and the culture, it's what excites me. The food is wonderful. Go with me to Kokeb Restaurant in Seattle, a lovely. Why Seattle, you say? Why not? There are Ethiopians all over the nation now, but we have a large community in Seattle, and the Kokeb Restaurant has become a favorite place of mine. These woven basket stands hold a tray, and the tray is covered with bread, injera, this thin pancake-like bread, and then all of the dishes are placed on top, you see? It's a fascinating way. Now, the Father Negatu, will bless it. He's a wonderful man, and his tradition in the church goes back, it goes this way. King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba had a son, Melech I, and he was the first emperor, or king, I should say, the king of Ethiopia. And in the time that the kingdom has existed, they've had 225 different emperors. Haile Selassie being the last one, the most recent one. He died in 1975, and that's about the end of it. But there were 225 different emperors or kings in Ethiopia. You know, we've had 264 popes since that time. So I think Ethiopia was even a little more stable than the Western Church. The food is eaten with your finger. Look, I'm violating a basic rule. I'm eating with my left hand. No. See, Craig knows. Channing knows. Channing is on the right-hand side of your screen. My 6'4" son who calls me Shorty. Wonderful food. If I'm using my left hand because I'm left-handed, I shouldn't do that. Only the right hand. Coffee is roasted in a frying pan. Yashi, the wife of Belete, the owner of the restaurant, is preparing the coffee for us. The coffee is roasted and brought to you so you can smell it first. Then it's ground and the coffee is made. It's a big ceremony. And it has cloves in it. Fascinating. And it's a very, very bright, that isn't even the right word. It's almost heavy with cloves. Please, the father first. There we are. Father Negatu, who's an Ethiopian Orthodox priest. Craig's going to try some, and the odor of the cloves is marvelous. Now, the Orthodox Church in Seattle, Greek Orthodox Church, has taken the new Ethiopian immigrants under their wing because, after all, they are Orthodox as well. So they use the building. Here I'm being introduced. I was to preach that morning. It was very exciting. They use the fellowship hall as the sanctuary, and the curtains, you see, are typical of the Orthodox tradition. You are not to pretend to understand the mysteries of God. So part of the service is conducted behind the curtains, and the chanting goes back, 2,000 years. Listen, it's beautiful. I was invited to preach, and I was terribly honored to stand within one of the oldest traditions of the entire church. One of the oldest of all. Older than the Western church as we know it. Certainly. If the ethnic church does not help us remember, then we will be swallowed up in sameness, and we will forget the names of our grandparents. That's what the ethnic church has always meant to me. I think the idea of holding on to a culture and teaching your children who they are. Here, Father Nagato is blessing each member of the parish, and then, of course, the fellowship hour. Well, you understand, in any ethnic community, it is the church that holds them together. So that's where you go to find the ethnic glue. The other thing is food. Here, Yeshi is making injera for us. I should say she already made coffee, but this recipe, we thought we had it all figured out. But I now have it figured out, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But she's making injera, which is a flat bread, almost like a moist pancake. It's not round at all. First, she makes the batter of flour, water, and a bit of soda water. Craig is writing everything down. He's going to get this one, he says. He's going to have it for sure. I hope so, because it didn't quite work as we thought it would. But I have it now. Using a 4-ounce ladle, she will ladle the batter into an electric frying pan that is exactly 400 degrees. Now, this one is lined with silverstone. Oh, I know they didn't have these things in Ethiopia. But after all, if there's a quicker way to do it, fine. Now, doesn't it look like a big old pancake to you? But this is the national bread of Ethiopia. It's wonderful stuff. And you use it as a kind of plate. Remember now, this culture is 2,000 years old. We're not talking about new kids on the block. The other batch that she's going to make, there we are. Now take it out. There we are. You don't turn it, you see. Take it out, and she's going to let it cool on a towel for a minute. And then she's going to prepare another batter of teff flour, T-E-F. And teff flour is very rich. It's another grass seed. All grains are grass seeds, of course. But it's a little rich. It's a little darker. And this time, you see, this stuff must be fermented for 3 days. This is the old way of making it. And then you use a plain piece of steel over the stove, but it must be covered. And then when you take off the cover a few minutes later, it takes only a moment to make this stuff. A few minutes later, you take off the cover, and it's rather brown, you see? There you have it. And this is the teff bread. So there are two kinds, wheat and teff. And both are very popular, though regular wheat flour is much more common now than it ever was in the past. So remember, now this is a poor country. That is to say, there's very little to eat, and there are incredible political problems. And that's why immigrants are coming to America. But it's a very profound and beautiful culture. The church itself, going back no, they're not Coptic. I thought they were. They used to have their bishops come from the Coptic church in Egypt, but they now have their own patriarch, and they really had nothing to do with the Coptic tradition. Ethiopia has always had its own tradition since the very beginning of the church, 2,000 years ago. Let me show you the bread recipe. We finally figured it out. At least I think we figured it out. See if it works for us. Injera is made thusly. I have 3 cups of warm water in a food blender. Very simple. Now I'm going to add 2.5 cups of self-rising flour. Now, did you catch that? Not regular flour. You know how to measure with a cup? Fill it up and then tap it. And then scoop it off, and you'll have exactly what you want. So I want, there it is. I want 2.5 cups of flour. And you must measure this very carefully into 3 cups of warm water. And by warm, I mean when you put your finger into it, you go, ah. You don't go, ooh, it's too hot, or, it's not very warm. You'll just soak. There we are. 2.5 cups. Now, I'm going to cover that and blend it, first of all, on slow speed. I know this bread looks strange to you, but it's just wonderful stuff. And then on higher speed. There you go. You have to stop and be sure that the flour is actually blending into the batter. We're making something that is very close to a pancake batter. You're right. That's what it looks like, and it's what it tastes like, too. That's long enough, I think. Just enough to be sure that you have no lumps at all. Now, let me arrange this so that you can see what I'm going to do, because this is the funny part. You use soda water right out of the bottle, and I want to add 3 tablespoons of soda to this. Now, I'll see if I can open this without making a mess all over the place. These always hit the ceiling when I touch them. 3 tablespoons of soda water. 1, 2, 3, and you have injera. It's fascinating stuff. It's easy to make, and it's just delicious. Stir that, and then use a 4-ounce ladle. See this one? Exactly 4 ounces. Your ladle that comes with that pot-destroying set of stainless steel gadgets you hang on the wall, check that one. It's probably 4 ounces. So into the frying pan. Now, my pan is at exactly 400 degrees. Now watch, I'm going to put it at the side of the pan, not in the middle. If you put it in the middle, it's very hard to get it to spread out. So put it at one side, and then immediately dip the pan. And if you're good at this, if you're good at this, you'll get a perfect one. Well, one little hole isn't bad. Come on, give me a break. I'll let that cook for a minute. I want to show you something about the rest of the flour. The other kind of flour that is used in the old one that comes from Ethiopia is called teff. You see this tiny little seed? See how tiny this stuff is? Maybe I can bang some on the counter and get something out. You can already see it. Tiny, tiny little seeds. Here's the size of the seeds. Look at that. That is a grain. And it is called teff because teff in Ethiopian means lost. And if you lose this stuff, if you drop it in the ground, it's all over. You can't pick it up. It's too tiny. So it's called teff, or the lost grain. When you grind it into flour, it has a rather dark, I think almost molasses type flavor. It's very, very rich. I prefer plain white flour, but then why not? Okay, let's take out the pancake. You want to let it cool for a moment on a bit of on a piece of towel, just for a moment. I think this does. See how the edges have curled? See what's happening? Just as they curl, just pick it out. No, it's not going to hurt you. And then go on and do another. And as they cool, you can begin to stack them on a plate. And you can have a good time with them. Craig, you want to help me clean off some of these things and put up the grinder for our next dish. The other thing you have to know about Ethiopian cooking is that they love spices. Now, I have no story about that. I don't think it's because the food was bad and they had to spice everything. I don't think that's a problem at all. I think it's because it's a hot climate and they simply love spices. So here's a basic thing that you've got to have if you're going to do Ethiopian cooking, and it's called berbere. It is spelled B-E-R. Right. Look. B-E-R-B-E-R-E. Berbere. And it is berbere, really, is it pronounced? And it's a hot pepper sauce. Very simple to prepare. Let's see. Everything's right here. Okay. First of all, I want to toast in a frying pan. I'm just going to put these items in. I'm not going to toast them. Show you what they are. Toast in a frying pan. 2 teaspoons of cumin. This is the cumin seed. And you can't even see this, can you? Let me do it this way. I have 2 teaspoons of cumin seed. 4 cloves. They're over here. A half teaspoon of cardamom, shelled cardamom. I have some whole allspice, about a 1/4 teaspoon. And then a teaspoon of fenugreek, this wonderful little seed. Now, all of that goes into the frying pan and toast that over medium heat for 1 or 2 minutes, just until you begin to smell the flavors. You see? That's all there is to it. Then, the next ingredient that you must prepare for is the peppers. And I want about 3 ounces whole of wonderful, these are New Mexican chili peppers. Where do you get them in Ethiopia? Well, you don't, but they have a pepper very close. I don't like all the seeds, so I open mine up. You see what I've done? Open it up and just shake out the seeds. So the seeds and the pit or stem are discarded. Now, all of this goes into a food processor, and we're going to grind it all up and make a wonderful blend. Berbere. The 3 ounces of peppers. Better tear these up. If you work with peppers, remember that you mustn't touch your eyelids or even play with your nose when you're cooking, because it will just be terribly painful. There we are. Now then, the toasted spices that I have given you already. There we go. And our additional ingredients are simple, and we'll have a wonderful sauce. In addition to that, I want to add 1/2 cup of dried onion flakes. You can buy these in any spice shop. 1/2 cup. That looks like an awful lot. Is that 1/2 cup? Okay, 1/2 cup. And then a bit of the chilies. These are little bitty ones. 3 little long chilies. I'm just going to throw them in and let them grind up. The seeds won't be so bad. And a bit of ground ginger, which is over here. I didn't have time to measure all this out for you each time. You know, we can't even bother with that. Ground ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And then we have some garlic powder, and that's a teaspoon. There it is. And some turmeric. The turmeric's about, a fourth of a teaspoon. You can add more if you like. And everything's up for grabs in one of these things. Let me grind that. And we'll get some salt in there, too. We also need to add some salt. And you want to grind it. Isn't that an awful racket? You want to grind this down until you get a nice powder. See how we're doing? Well, it'll take a while. Anyhow, grind this down for maybe a minute in your food processor, and you'll get a nice powder. And to that, we want to add a bit of salt. Just about I don't know, what about a couple of teaspoons, no more. Remember now, we're using this as a seasoning, so it's all right. There we are. And then, after you grind this, and I would grind it a little bit longer, you see, it's too large yet. After you grind this, then you add to this 1/2 cup of salad oil. Isn't this fascinating? And it is basic to the cooking. Now I have to get a 1/2 cup of red wine. 1/2 cup of each, salad oil and red wine, and then grind all of this up. Mix it all up, and you have this wonderful pepper sauce that goes in practically everything in Ethiopia. The ancient culture that I think is going to become a smash in America. I really do. That is to say, there we go. You see that? Isn't that gorgeous? It's a wonderful, wonderful chili paste. We use it in all sorts of things. Craig, if you want to get rid of this for me, I'm going to go on here. All right? We're going to do the butter. It's good to have help in your kitchen. Craig's always a blessing for me. What did we forget? I think we've got everything. Onion flakes, nutmeg, we've got everything in it. All right. Now, here's the other basic. Here's a bowl of it. I'm going to start cooking, so now I've got to have my bowl ready. You see? Here's a bowl of the sauce that I just told you about. Pepper sauce, Burberry. Got it? Now, the other thing you have to have in order to make these wonderful dishes, 1, injera, 2, Burberry, and 3, spiced butter, and I think you've got it. Let me show you. Let me just put it in the counter, it'll be easier for us. I have a couple pounds of butter, and you see I've cooked that until the froth has formed. Now, to that, I'm going to add 1 small yellow onion, all cut up. Here we go. That should be enough. Just throw it in there. That's all right. And 3 cloves of garlic. 3 cloves of garlic, all, those are big cloves, aren't they? All chopped up, you see. 1, 2, 3, that should be enough. You can do this any way you want, for goodness sakes, I don't care. And then I want some fresh ginger, which I've already put together. This is 4 teaspoons of not ground. No, listen to me. This is fresh grated ginger, fresh ginger root. Throw that in the pot. We have 1/4 of a teaspoon of cardamom seed, a piece of cinnamon stick about 1 inch long. If I'm going too fast, you know that all these recipes are printed for you in the cookbooks. 3 cloves, a little bit of cardamom, just about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Excuse me, that's not cardamom, that's nutmeg. Sorry about that. Nutmeg, the cloves, and the turmeric. That's about 1½ teaspoons. Put this on the stove to cook. That's all there is to it. Put it on the stove on low heat and let it simmer. Well, let me show you what happens. Let it simmer until it turns to this. You see, what has happened is that in the bottom of the pot, the milk solids can you see them? They've set up. I don't want to stir this too much, but this takes about 45 minutes. Heat the lid off, and now what we're going to do is to pour it through 2 layers of I can't even call this stuff, cheesecloth, that's what I want. Pour through 2 layers of cheesecloth, and you'll come up with a wonderful, clear, delicious butter. This is like a ghee in India, you see, so that it keeps beautifully because you've cooked out the milk solids. See how brown the milk solids are? See that? See how brown they are? Just let this drain, and the result, well, this morning, let me tell you the truth. This morning, when I was preparing this, several of my friends who help us with these shows came running in and they said, what is it? What is it? What is it? And I said, it's butter. It's melted butter. No. See how clear it is? How beautiful? Isn't that lovely? And this will keep in the refrigerator for weeks, just like that. You don't have to worry about a thing. So it's a wonderful thing. And the flavor filled the kitchen. And I sold 2 or 3 guys on Ethiopian cooking before I even started. So that's the third major ingredient you have to have. Now, how are we gonna do these? Let's get to some good ones. First of all, a lamb and cardamom stew is wonderful, wonderful thing to have. First of all, some lamb. I have 2 pounds of lamb, and I've simply browned it. You see? See what I've done? Just brown it. To that, you're going to add some onions, about 3 cups of onions, and some of them, oops, I'm running out of spoons. Let me get one here. Here we are. Half of the onions are yellow onions and half are red onions. You can see the difference? See them? Okay. 3 cups of onions that I've sauteed in a little bit of the butter, about a tablespoon or 2 of the spiced butter. Saute the lamb in a tablespoon or 2 of the soft butter. And the rest of the butter, you save, I want a half cup total, and simply pour it into the pot. And of course, I have lots of this butter around. You're going to say, good Lord, Smith, this is not what you call a low-calorie diet. No, it's not. No, it's not. So we add the full half cup now to our pot, including the 2 tablespoons we've already added, and then go on with the berry sauce. We want about 1/4 of a cup. Just throw it right in there. And we want some cumin. I'm not going to add all of this because I want to dish up the plates for you. You add cumin, cardamom, some fresh ginger to this, some cloves of garlic. Isn't this wonderful? You just keep cooking, just keep adding. Black pepper, red wine, a cup of water, little salt. Cover this and cook it for 45 minutes. Let me show you what you get. I think this is the most profound. You know the flavor of cardamom. The Swedes use it, the Norwegians and Swedes use it in bread, Christmas bread. And the odor is wonderful. When you mix it with lamb, you have something that's just smashing. And this is what you get. Look at this. It's just beautiful stuff. And it's terribly, terribly tender. And you eat this with chunks of bread, along with everything else, of course. All right, let me show you some other things you can do. I've got a good one down here. I'll just start dishing up, all right? We're not going to have time for anything more than dish up. And we can talk about a wonderful tradition. Lentils made with berry sauce and a bit of the spiced butter turn into heaven. And you eat these by hand with the bread. I'll dish all this up and show you. And we have up here, yes, I've been cooking. Thank you for noticing. We've been cooking like mad around here. It's complicated cuisine because you have to serve about 9 or 10 courses, or the dinner is not really a smash, you see. Come here, you. There we are. This one will startle you. It's so beautiful. It is chicken dorowat. And you see the eggs, hard-boiled eggs, are cooked with the chicken. Look at the redness of that sauce. Isn't it wonderful? All right, let's start dishing up. I'm going to take an enormous platter of bread. This is injera. The recipe that I gave you, the 3 cups of water and the 2.5 cups of flour, will make about 8 of these loaves. And that's enough for, normally for about 8 people, you see. So let's dish them up. Find my whole list here and we can be sure I've got everything for you. Yes, all right. The lentils are simply placed on the top of the bread. Isn't this interesting? And we need some lamb stew. All right. We need some chicken. We've got to get the chicken. Is just heavenly. You're wondering why I'm putting them in quite this order. Well, it's no order at all. Let's see. Let's get another chunk of chicken here because I know that's going to be really popular with my guests. And then I have a spiced cheese. It's simply farmer's cheese, which is mixed up with a bit of the butter and a little cayenne pepper. Oh, it's good. And you eat this with your fingers as well. And you can blend some of the farmer's cheese with a bit of kale or collard greens cooked down. I'm going to use my fingers. Why not? That's what this is for. And you add this with the onions and collard greens. See, the plate is looking better and better as we go, isn't it? Here's the smash coming up. This one is raw beef called kifto. Kifto. It's raw beef mixed with peppers and hot sauce. And there you have an Ethiopian meal. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? And everything is eaten. Well, I think I better show you. Take a loaf of injera. Oh boy, I had 2 there. Let's see. It shouldn't be heavy at all. It should be light, and it's so much fun to eat. It's a fascinating culture. And you simply tear off a little bit of the bread, and then you pick up I'm going to go right away for the raw kifto. Oh, it's good. And you fold it. Whoops, hold it. What have I done wrong? Right. Use your right hand. That's the hand of fellowship or community. The left hand, how will I say this? The left hand is used for private bodily functions in the ancient world. The right hand is for community. So when you eat for a common tray, as we're doing now, when you eat from a common tray, you must always use your right hand. In the old days in Arabia, they used to cut your hand off if you use the wrong hand. I'm not quite that firm, but, oh, that's wonderful. Immigrant ancestors, those people who have brought to us wonderful cultures, wonderful food, and today it's our friends from Ethiopia. I'm glad we could be together. I'll see you again soon. In the meantime, this is the Frugal Gourmet. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.